It's all good. So wherever you are, I hope that you're doing good today, and let's get it started. So in today's class, we are going to make our WordPress website, and I'm really, really excited about that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to do a quick review about kind of like website pages and goals, just so we can remember what exactly that we're trying to build today. I'll go over again a little bit of review about how the back end kind of works. And then we're just going to get into it and have a nice little working session and just get it done. And then hopefully, if someone feels inclined to show any type of progress that they've made, I want to show their website to the class, I would love to see that and do a little show and tell. And then we will wrap it up. Does that sound good to everybody? Remember, I need confirmation. You guys know this by now. Let me know. All right, Vicky's got the yes. I need at least one more yes. Cool, all right. Thanks, guys. Now remember, if you did make it through all three, you are going to get your cool certificate this weekend. So I appreciate everyone who's stuck through it and got to this point, because I'm excited towards your certificate. You worked hard for it, and that's what will happen. But even if you've only come to one or two, I appreciate that too. Anything that you want to do to learn and grow, I certainly appreciate that. And I think that's awesome. And you guys probably already know my stories. We've already went through this a few times. But I just did want to remind you that I'm here to help you kind of enhance the work that you do through graphic design. And it's very important, I think, just because design can be very impactful throughout everyone's life, throughout the world. It's so ingrained in everything that we don't even realize we're interacting with it sometimes. But design is just basically visual problem solving. And there's a ton of problems to solve, as you probably already know. So whether it's making a presentation for yourself or for work, marketing materials that a business may need, maybe you need it for yourself or you have to create it for someone else. If you're at the airport, you need to figure out where you're going in the airport. There's the signage that helps you get through the airport and figure out where you're going, or maybe not the airport now, but maybe somewhere else, depending on what you're doing in these days and times. Maybe there's an infographic that needs to be made to explain a really complex concept and make it really simple. We use infographics for that. There's all kinds of visual problems that we can solve, and design helps us do that. It also is here to help us create awareness. So if there's a cause or organization or something that you want to kind of make people aware about, maybe a product or service that you have or your business or company has, then design actually helps do that as well and create those types of things that create that awareness. And then also, it just helps us shape perception, which we call brand. And if you guys were here for the logo versus brand class that we had a few weeks ago, we talked about how brand really simply is just other people's perception of you or your business. And so you can't necessarily force that perception on them, but you can help shape that by the things that you do. And one of those things is the visual aspect of the brand, and the way that you create and present yourself is a way that will kind of shape people's minds, feel a certain type of way about you. And that could be good or bad, just depending on how you create those perceptions, help shape those perceptions. And then finally, websites, what we're doing now is very relevant because websites are just a way to display all the things that I talked about on the web. So whether you are creating a website or you are interacting with one that's already created, you've got to interact with some type of web platform in order to just communicate online. So whether you're uploading a video to YouTube, or you're watching a YouTube video, or you're on social media, or you're on a company website, or you're ordering food from a restaurant, these are all websites that you're interacting with. And so all these things are very important. All these things kind of help make the world go around, but we kind of just don't realize that because it's so infused into our everyday life. But if this is something that's interesting to you and you'd like to continue to kind of have graphic design help enhance the work that you do, or learn how to kind of be part of that creation so that you can help others visual problem solve, then that's what I'm here to do and help you, guide you through. So yeah, that's why we're here. And hopefully we can have our cool little website for ourselves today, but maybe in the future you want to take a little further and build one for someone else or for your job or whatever it may be. Hopefully some of the skills that you learned today will transfer over to those things as well. And speaking of learning, I would like to get you guys' opinion because I really value what you guys think. And I just kind of want to know in the future, if you are interested in learning more about design, what your learning style kind of is and how you prefer to learn. So let me know in the chat, um, how do you prefer to learn as far as like your schedule? And just type in A, B, C, or D. You can type in one answer or you can type in multiple ones, whichever one you prefer. But do you kind of like the Saturday format, Saturdays only? Would you rather have a kind of long 1 day workshop where it's like a 3 to 4 hours? Would you prefer like 1 or 2 weeknights a week? Or do you think something where it's consecutive, like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday thing would be kind of cool to keep kind of learning consecutively over the course of days? So let me know what you think, and I will take this into consideration for sure, because what you say is definitely important. So go ahead and type in the chat for me. All right. Got an anonymous, a lot of A's in here. All right. Cool. I totally appreciate that. Hopefully we got everybody's response in here. Write down, make sure I get everybody. All right. Cool. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. All right. Now that we've gotten that kind of housekeeping out the way, let's get ready to make our website. I'm excited for you guys. Hopefully you've done your homework, gotten your images together and your content. If not, then it's all good. You can still figure it out today, but it makes it look go a little faster when you already have some planning. That's one of the P's kind of ahead of you so that you can kind of just go ahead and plug and play. So before we jump into creating, I just want to make sure that we're all clear about what we're going to make today. So just a quick reminder about our goals for this website, and let me know if you have any questions. But just remember overall, remember the anatomy of a WordPress page or post is pretty much the same throughout. They might not always look exactly like this, but the concept is there. Remember I said it's kind of like a sandwich. Like you've always got your header at the top, your footer at the bottom, and then you've got the content or the body in the middle. And so usually in the header is where you'll have the site logo or the site name, and you'll have the menu or navigation. At the bottom is a footer where you'll usually have like the copyright information, or maybe you'll have some other footer widgets, like maybe you'll have your logo repeated again, or maybe you'll have recent posts or categories or something down there at the bottom that you want for people to see on every single page of your website. And then you have the middle, which is the content, which could be your blog content. It could be imagery. It could be paragraphs. It could be titles. It could be all kinds of stuff. Videos, all kinds of stuff could be in the content block. So just kind of remember this anatomy. That's what we're kind of working with today. Now for our goals today, we want to make sure that we're only covering 3 main pages, and that's the home page, the blog page, and the contact page. Now, depending on what theme you've already chosen to work with, you may or may not already have these pages in your theme, or you may have more pages than this, or you may have something different or a little less, but it's okay, we can still figure it out. So for example, you may have a theme that you've chosen that says news instead of blog, but really that's kind of the same concept, it's just a different title. And we can always change the title of that page as well if we don't want to call it news. Or if we might have a theme that doesn't come with a blog page already in it, it's no problem. We can create a new page and we can make sure that our posts go to that page, direct to that page. So we can definitely figure that out. We want to have 3 blog posts, and a lot of the themes that you've chosen already have kind of these kind of mock blog posts already in there. So we can just basically edit those with our own photos and our own unique title. You don't really have to worry about the words beneath, so you don't have to actually write out your own blog posts unless you feel entitled to. If you've already done it, then that's great. But if you just have a picture and a title for just 3 blog posts, I think that'll be great. That'll give us an idea of what a blog post page looks like. And then we want to make sure that we have our menu at the top and our site name. So your site name should be your name, first and last name. If you want to use the alias, you can do that too. We just want to keep it simple. So for example, my site name would be Chanel Wheeler. And then I would have my menu on the side of that, which is home, blog, and contact page. And then just, infuse your own style or personality. So you can do that by the unique pictures that you're going to include. You can do that by the way that you kind of write out your headline. Just the way that you write or speak is your own personality. So just keep it fun. Nothing too serious. We're just here to learn and to try to see what we can make. And then just make sure you include your own pictures. So whether that's photos of yourself or photos that you found online through free stock photography or something like that, we can infuse those pictures into our website. And just a little deeper dive how that looks. Remember we talked about our sitemaps. This is basically just a list of the pages that we're gonna have on our website. Our sitemap is really, really simple because it's really just the home page, which is the main page, and then it's gonna link to the blog page and the contact page. And on that blog page, we're gonna see our 3 blog posts that we've created. And on the contact page, we're gonna see if we can also add like a little simple form, which is really, really easy. I'll show you how to do that. And then of course, we'll have our main headline. And if you wrote your paragraph about yourself, we'll put that on our homepage as well. And then here's just another way to visualize the same thing I just said over, but just in a more detailed way to show it. Remember, homepage, we're gonna have our menu across the top of all of ours because those are in the header. We're gonna have our main image, our big kind of cover image, and we're gonna have our headline, which could be below that image or it could be on top of that image, depending on what theme you've chosen. If you have a paragraph written about yourself that you've already written, we can put that on the homepage as well below that, or wherever you want to place it. And then we'll also have our blog page that will list kind of those 3 blog posts that we've created. And then we'll have a contact page in which at minimum, we'll just try to have a contact form on there. And you can actually test it out and see if you can fill it out and see where it goes. It should email to your email that you signed up with WordPress with. So that'll be kind of fun test to figure out. Does anybody have any questions about what we're creating today? Does that make sense to you guys? I'm just gonna wait for confirmation. All right, anybody confused or nervous or scared, or what's the feeling here? That's totally fine, Wesley. That is totally fine. Cool. All right. Well, if we're ready to go, then I think we should go ahead and get creating. And I think we should really remember in our mind the 5 P's. Planning, patience, perseverance, practice, and what's number 5? You guys remember? See if you were paying attention. So I mentioned planning, patience, practice, perseverance. Yes, Etosha, problem solving, that's correct. And I just would like to remind you to implement these 5 P's for yourself. Remember that you're learning, so you have to have grace and patience for yourself. If you already knew everything, that means you wouldn't be learning, you just be doing. So if you don't get something right, it's totally not a big deal. That's why we have the undo button. That's why we have, you know, the delete button. Etosha says she needs the patience part. Yeah, I mean, I think we all need a little bit of that. But it's okay. You know, sometimes technology can be fun, sometimes it can be frustrating, but just remember that we're all here to learn. And we're not getting paid for this site, I don't think, at least I'm not. And we're not paying anybody for the site, I don't think. So there's no pressure here. Even if you don't finish the whole thing today, it's all good because at least you got to start. And if you just even get your homepage up, I think that would be pretty cool. So just give yourself grace as you continue to learn. Don't expect everything to be perfect, but if you were able to breeze through and go ahead and create your site, then you can continue to add more or do whatever you like to kind of spruce it up and keep exploring. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to minimize this and I'm going to bring over WordPress so we can kind of do a little quick review and make sure that we know how to use the backend. And you guys go ahead and log into your WordPress site if you haven't already. If you go to WordPress.com and you haven't logged out yet, then you probably already see this kind of pop up. But if you need to log back in, just go ahead and log in with the email that you signed up with, which may be your Google email or it could be something else. But once you're here, just let me know by saying home in the chat so that I know you guys are with me. All right. Everybody is there. Cool. So just so that you guys remember, we really only need to utilize 2 main areas of the WordPress sidebar to get our website done. And those main areas are going to be the site menu, which has our pages and posts under that. And it's going to be our design menu, which basically has some customization that we can do in our themes. Now, hopefully you already picked your theme, but if you haven't, you can click on themes and you can go ahead and choose one of these here. And they only have about 20 or so themes that are built into the free version of WordPress. If you were to have paid and upgraded, you would have seen some more options. But just go ahead and pick one of these themes if you haven't already. And now we can get started with that. Now remember, for your site, if you go into your site menu, all your pages and posts are here. So if I click on the pages link under site, I can see all the current pages that I have in my website. And as you remember, last week we made a test page, so that's why that's still there. But if I don't want that, I can just go ahead and click on these three dots on the side, and I can throw that in the trash. Now it's under my trash instance. But if I want to bring it back, I can restore it. So no worries if you deleted something and then you want to bring it back. Now I'm gonna go ahead and look at my list of pages that come with my theme. And I've got a home, blog, contact, and about page. And just remember, for all your pages and posts, you kind of have the same kind of layout here. But the things that you'll utilize the most is, first you'll just want to click through and just see all the different elements that are on your page. And every time you click on an element, this kind of little menu bar will pop up above. And this is a menu for this particular element. So if I wanted to replace this image here, I first need to click on the element that I want, and then I can click on replace, and I can replace that photo with a new photo. And I can open my media library, I can upload from my computer. So you kind of just want to click through and just see how it works, how it's kind of highlighting each area, and how it gives you a menu bar that is relatable to whatever you clicked on. So if you click on text, it's going to give you some text options. If you click on an image, it's going to give you options up here to replace that image, or to kind of change the layout or things like that, or add a link to that image. Also remember that up here at the top, we kind of have this little side. We also have the sidebar options that come up here, but we can access those to the settings menu. So if we click on this little gear guy, this black menu, the settings menu will appear. And that also is contextual to whatever we click on. So if I click on this header, this big header image, it kind of gives me some style options. So if I wanted to have a little wave on the bottom of that or on the top, I could click those and kind of change that, or I could go back to the default. And there's just some other options back here that I can kind of change as far as backgrounds and colors and overlays. So just remember that you've got this kind of sidebar option here on the side that is you can utilize. And also every time you click on an element, a kind of mini kind of menu will pop up above it and give you particular options just for that element. All right. Now, if I go back to the WordPress menu here, this always takes me back home, and I can always hit this back button. I have some unsaved changes, but that's okay, because I'm going to come back to this. I can also go back to site here on the menu, and I can go to post. Remember, the post is what goes into our blog. So remember, we had the test blog that we made last week. We created our own blog, but we also had kind of like these 3 post examples that were already built into our theme that came with it. So either you may see this or you may not. You may only have just one test post that you made last week. Maybe you have just these 3 things, or maybe you don't have anything in here at all. But that's okay, because we can always start with a new post, or we can kind of riff off of what's already existing. So I don't think I need my test post anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. Now I've kind of got my 3 main blog posts here. If I click on one of these, I can go in, I can edit the title, and then I can also add my photo, which I think is very important. And we're going to do that by adding a featured image, which is on the sidebar. So remember, you access the sidebar by clicking on this little gear guy here on the side, on the top, this black gear. And if you scroll down, you'll see featured image. And the featured image is basically the image that will show up in that thumbnail on the blog page. So it'll be like the thumbnail of the blog, and then kind of like the excerpt of the blog that you're going to read, and you'll click read more, and then you'll go into that main blog post. So this featured image is kind of like that thumbnail that will show up on the blog page. So I already have some kind of flower image here, but I can always replace that with something else that I choose to select. So for example, if I choose this instead, I can insert, and then I can always preview my changes by clicking preview. And as you see, this is the new image that I selected popped up here at the top as my featured image, and then my kind of blog is below that. And this is just some text that just kind of came with the post. I'm just gonna leave this as is. I'm not really too concerned about changing this and making it a real blog, more so than I am just having this image and having my unique kind of post name here at the top. And so I'll close that out. And what's really important to remember is that anytime you want to do any updates that you want to keep intact, you must click the update button or else it will not save. So update is pretty much like the save button. But if you just want to preview anything, you can always just click the preview button to see what it's going to look like first before you actually hit the update button. Make sense so far? Everybody with me? All right. And then finally, I'm going to show you guys really quickly. If I go back to my main page here, I'm going to go down to design. I'm going to go under that to customize. And this is where I control the different parts of my, the general settings of my site. So if I wanted to change the name of my site, which is Chanel Wheeler, maybe I want to change it to Chanel W. So I can just go ahead and do that. I have a tagline, but if I don't really want that there, then I can delete that and it'll kind of give me a live preview of what that looks like. Now I can also add my own unique logo here if I already have one. And if you feel so inclined, you can actually create a logo, which it has this kind of cool logo maker thing. And if you actually type in like a word, a name, or a company name, it will actually go ahead and like kind of change that word to have some cool elements next to it. So if you feel like, you know, I think they typed in the word surge and then they gave me these different options here for how the word surge will look like a logo. So if you feel so inclined to take it that far, you can, but I would say the minimum requirement is just go ahead and have your site name here, which is your first and last name or your first name or whatever name you want to use. And just make sure that you hit save changes once you do that. You can always hit this back button to go back. We also want to make sure that we have a menu at the top because we want people to be able to navigate through our website. So our primary menu is always usually the menu at the top. So if I hit primary, I'm going to see what pages that I have currently in my pages list, and I'm going to have the option to either have them display in the menu or not. So because I've mentioned that we're just going to worry about home, blog, and contact, well, my theme came with an about page. I don't want to delete the about page. I just don't want it to be visible in the menu. So people, that won't be an option for people to see unless they know that unique URL for that actual about page. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to about. I'm going to click that drop down, and I'm going to go all the way to where it says remove, and I'm going to remove this about page. Now, it doesn't mean that I deleted the about page altogether. I just removed it from the menu item. Also, if I wanted to rearrange my menu, I could put blog first if I wanted to, and you can kind of see that render out here. Oops, actually, let me move that, right? Come on. And as you can see, sometimes it's a little bit fickle. You just kind of have to be patient. I have to use the 3 Ps right now because I'll get it up there. So I've got contact first. Now I've got contact second. Now I can make contact last. Just kind of have to drag slow. If you're a quick clicker, then you might get a little bit more frustrated. But if you click and drag really slow, I promise you will get there. So you can rearrange your pages like in that way. You can also add a menu to the footer as well. So if I wanted my primary menu to also be here at the bottom, then I hit footer and it's also here at the bottom as well. So I can control where my menus live on my site. So I'm going to just keep mine at the top and save those changes. And go back. And then finally, I'll just show you one last setting that I think is important. Homepage settings. So right now it's saying, what page do you want to display as your homepage? Because of course the page called home makes sense, but for some reason maybe you want your contact page to be the homepage. That's not really good practice, but for some reason if you click contact, then when people type in the URL to come to your site, this is the first page they're going to see. But we want to keep this home page because that's what really makes sense. We don't want to start with contact because they don't really know what the site is about. Then also we can figure out what page you want our blog post to show up on. So we can either, so if we already have a blog page, we can select blog, but if we wanted it to show up somewhere else, we could click a different page. But just know that if I click contact page, it's going to override what was on my contact page with now the blog post. So just keep that in mind, that you just really want to probably just keep it to the, if you keep it to the default, which is select, it will just go ahead and default to the blog page. But if you have a blog page already, you can also click that too and make sure that all your posts actually go to the actual page it's supposed to go on. So hopefully that makes sense. So this is just a page, this is just kind of a settings that helps us to set up what people first see when they come to our homepage. Do they actually see the page called home, or do they see something else? And then also, where do they see all the blog posts that we created? Where do they all populate? We want that to be on the blog page. So without further ado, let me hit save changes, gotta remember that. Without further ado, what I think I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna play a bit of music. I'm gonna give you guys some time to go ahead and get started. And I'm gonna actually design my site live as well. So you can go ahead and follow along with me if you want, or if you got it and you know what you're doing, then you can go ahead and do it at your own pace and kind of design the way you wanna do it. We're just gonna give you a little bit of time to go ahead and flesh this out and work on your site. And then we're gonna try a little something different. We're gonna do a little breakout session after that, maybe in about 15, 20 minutes to kind of talk to each other and see what we're working on. But for right now, let's just utilize the next maybe 20 minutes to really, 20, 25 minutes to really get in and see how much we can finish. And I'm gonna do this with you as well. So you can feel free to follow along, or you can feel free to just go ahead at your own pace. For me, I think that the best way to kind of get through all of this is to first focus on the homepage. Which is like the main page, because if you don't get anything else done, I think the homepage is the thing that we'll see first. So that's kind of important. Then you can go ahead and tackle your blog posts and kind of edit those and figure out what you want those to be. Then we can move on to the contact page. And then finally, we can go ahead and make sure that our menu is displaying the way that we want all our pages to display. Now, as you can see here, I've already got a folder that has my pictures in it so that I'm already kind of organized. I've already planned it out. I've already got my text for my website. So I've got my headline, I've got my paragraph, and I've got my 3 titles here. Hopefully you guys have something as well, but you can always just kind of type it on the fly. Like I said, there's no pressure. But remember, planning is something that helps you to design faster and to produce faster. So if you already kind of have these things planned out, it makes your production a lot faster. Does that sound good? You guys ready to go? Is anybody already done? Does anybody already can show a website, or do we still have work to do? Just let me know where we are. Vicky says she's still working on it. All right, Marquita's ready to go. Wesley, he's laughing, so that sounds like he's still working, but he's not done yet. All right, cool. All right, well, let's get it. I'm gonna play some music, and I'm gonna design mine. You guys are gonna design yours, and then we're gonna see what we've got by the end of this. All right, let's do it. I'm gonna start with my homepage, but you start wherever you feel inclined to start. Change out my image to something else. Replace this. Wesley, this is called jazz hip hop. There's a chill hop station on YouTube, and it's a pretty chill for like studying or just working. I like to listen to it a lot. So it's kind of like that lo-fi chill beat. All right, so I'm gonna pick my big image here. All right, I got my new image. change my headline. First, I'm going to change the color, I think. White. I love by two. Lakia. Got it. Take my text. Here's my headline. Copy that. Make this center. I think I'm going to make my picture a little darker so we can see that text. Change the opacity, make it a little darker overlay. Yeah, I like that. Use that. You guys feel free to type any questions in the chat as we go along. If you have anything, but we'll also have more time to ask more questions when we break out too. Either way is fine. I want this, I'm gonna delete it. I'm gonna change this button to say, change the color maybe too. Yeah, I think that's fine. I actually don't want this section anymore, so I'm going to select this whole block here. I'm going to get rid of it so I can add my blog post feed instead. So I'm going to remove this whole block. I'm going to go to my plus sign here. I'm going to add my paragraph first. Where it says text, or I can type in paragraph if I can't find it. I'm going to add my paragraph about myself. Paste that. All right. I'm going to center it. I think because I copied it from a PDF, it made each thing a separate line. I don't want that, so I'm going to undo that. I'm going to copy it from somewhere else so I get a better experience. There we go. Now it's all one line. So copying from a PDF can be tricky. So maybe if you copy from like a text editor or Word doc, it's a little better. Just learning that myself. Cool. Center that text. My paragraph. Let's see, I don't think I need this section, so I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to make this full width. Let's see if that works. So I don't want this. this. Let's see what this looks like. Not centered. Let's try to fix that. Let's fix that too. And I actually forgot to add a link to my button. I'm gonna add it here. See if that part works. All right, that looks good. So I'm gonna add my blogs. Post to this. Move this down. I'm just gonna undo that. So I think I inserted it in the wrong area, and I want it to be here actually. Let's try that again. There we go. I want to have a grid view instead, like this. Right. Paragraph here. Change my font size to huge. Let's preview that. All right. Remember, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to type in the chat or just keep on working. I'm gonna update my homepage because I think I'm liking where it's getting. Work on my blog posts. Add multiple images at one time. And I'm just going to use this one for the first blog image. That's my featured image. Let's preview this. right. Close that. I want this extra text, I can get rid of it. Just delete it using the delete button. And I'm gonna update it. This is my first blog post. Go back and click on this next one and change this one. Select my featured image from the media library. Use this picture. Somebody's text again. Hit delete. Blog a little shorter. Play around with some settings here. Drop cap, it's pretty cool. Some text. Make this a different color. Update. Go back to my menu. Last blog post, I'm gonna update. way a post looks, I can just actually select one and I can copy it. If I like this format, and I can just change maybe the picture or something else. If I like this format. I'm gonna go back because I don't need that. Yes, I am sure. So now if I go back to my home page, all three of my blog posts will show up in my feed. Aha, it did. Let's go back. I'll go to my contact page. Is it possible to control how a featured image is cropped when it appears in the blog listing, or is it always just centered? Let's see, let's find out. So featured image on this. Yeah, I think for this free version, there's a little bit less options for how you can kind of orient your photo and crop. If you have the paid version, or maybe even if you went to your WP admin, let's go ahead and see. Now remember, WP admin is exactly the same backend features as this one, but it's just a way for you to always get to your backend through typing it through the admin URL. So it'll have this kind of black background. But it's pretty much the same as what we were doing before, but it's a little bit less intuitive, and it's a little bit more advanced in some ways as far as doing that. But you may have a little bit more options when you come over here. So go to my posts. How do you delete everything and start over? Yeah, you could do that. You could just start a new page. Remember, we need to practice the 3 Ps. We need patience and we need perseverance. Well, the 5 Ps, but we definitely need 3 of them: patience, perseverance, and problem solving. Remember, if you're getting a little bit overwhelmed or frustrated, let's just start with the home page. And if you don't like your theme, we can even go back and change our theme to something else if we don't like the theme that we're using. But we really just want to make sure that we have that big image at the top, however that may be oriented, and we want to have our site title, and we want to have our kind of headline for ourselves. So if you feel like you want to start over and you don't like where you are, it's totally no big deal. Website design, whether you're a novice or you're advanced expert guru, I promise you, everyone goes through the same thing. You're creating something, you don't understand why it works or why it doesn't work. Things aren't moving sometimes the way you want them to. Sometimes it's really easy, sometimes it's slow, sometimes it's frustrating. I promise you that every single person goes through the exact same trials and tribulations. So You just kind of have to have patience and just keep persevering. I promise you, you will get at least the homepage up. I can guarantee it. So if you don't like what you've done, just kind of back out, go back to that main menu, go under site and pages, and just just make a whole new page if you like, or you can start with the home page from the theme and just edit from there. And remember, if you haven't clicked the update button, then nothing has really saved. So if you kind of back out and come back in, it will kind of default back to what you started with. So as long as you don't update, nothing is actually saved yet. You can always preview what you're going to, what your page is going to look like before you actually save. So let's see. Look at the featured image over here in WP Admin. Yes, homepage. All your pages are listed under pages. Yeah. So whatever you want your home page to be, you can designate that in the customized settings, and I'll show you guys that again as well. Let me go ahead and just try to answer Vicky's question here. Now, if I'm in WP Admin, I'm in the media library. It does give me a little bit more image editing options as far as how I kind of want my photo to be cropped. So if I click edit image, I can actually rotate it, I can crop it, I can do a few bit more things here, and I can control the scale and the dimensions. So if I kind of want it to be oriented a different way, I can play around with this. That just depends on how comfortable you feel with kind of playing around with these types of settings. So I can rotate, I can crop. But it's a little limited, so you can only do but so much as far as the actual orientation of the image. And I'll cancel that out. But the good thing is that also, and I'll actually go back to, just this regular side. But you also can control in your blog post if you want your image to be oriented to the top of the post, to the top of the text, or to the right or to the left. And if I actually go to the blog page, actually, let's see. The feature image is always at the top here, but it also depends on the orientation of the photo that you started off with. So this is vertical, so it's not going to fill the page this way because I have a vertical kind of image here. And this is, so it's kind of good if you had all your images uniformly sized first before you upload these, if possible, because they all are going to kind of turn out a little different. And actually, I think it was actually my homepage where I was able to see that kind of snippet of my blogs all on the homepage that I kind of added here. I can control if I want my photos to be on the top or on the side, show media on the left, show on the right, show at the top. I can even put it behind the text like that. It's a little messy when I do it that way. So there are some ways that you can kind of play around with it. And this is actually just kind of like a widget that I kind of added with this block. But there are a little bit of limitations, especially with this free one, but you can kind of work around it and work with it the best you can to get it to where you want it to be. So Tosha, to answer your question, I'll say okay. Remember, when you go on your pages, every single page that you have for your website is listed here. Everything that's published is here. You might have some drafts that you've made that you haven't actually hit the publish or update button yet. Those are here. But you should already have a home page that you've that kind of came with the theme. But if you didn't, then you can also make one. But you said you figured it out. That's great. Like I mentioned before, if you go under design and customize, under homepage settings, you can actually designate what page you want to show up first when people come to visit your website. So I just selected home, so that way I know that when people come to my site, they'll come to a static page, the home page first. But like I said, if I wanted them to come to my contact page or something else, then I could change that, but best practices would for it to be the home page that they would come to. And then again, in my menu, as you can see, I had changed the name of my contact page to Get in Touch. But if I want my title of my page to stay the same, but I want it to display differently in the menu, that's totally fine. I can change the navigation label back to Contact if I want it to be Contact. But when they actually go visit that page, that title at the top will still say Get in Touch. So you have lots of options to kind of change how you want things to look and feel. Let's say save changes. Come out of that. Go back to my contact page, which I changed to Get in Touch. And there is a kind of contact form already here. But for some reason, let's say it wasn't, I can show you how to add one. So let's remove this whole thing here. It's already kind of giving me a default telling me I need to add a form here since I deleted everything. So I'll go ahead and choose contact form. If this didn't for some reason pop up, I could also go here to add my block, and I could just search contact form. So I can spell it correctly. And actually, I could actually add that contact form widget here as well. So there's multiple ways I can do things, but I can always go ahead and add my own if I don't have one present already. So if I just hit contact form, it's going to give me kind of this default form. You always want to have a name and email required at the very least. You don't have to have anything else, but name and email are definitely something that you want to have collected if people contact you. And if you kind of click on each form, you can designate if this field is required or not. So maybe the name may not be required, but the email definitely should if you're trying to collect any type of data. We're going to keep the name required, and also the email, we're going to keep that required too. We can also change the size of the width of the field. 100% is usually pretty good. And then we can even change the name of the button. So I can say submit instead of contact us, whatever you want to say there. And we can change the button color as well. I'll preview that. I'm gonna update that. To edit some of these things and enter my social handles, I can kind of enter those things here. I think that's good to go. Welcome, Sherilyn. We've already gotten started. We're already making our WordPress websites. But if you want to jump in and log into your account and kind of start going, you can go ahead and do that. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of preview how my site looks all together. Visit site. I haven't launched this yet, which basically means that it'll be available for other people to view. And even if I do hit the launch button, no one actually is going to know that this website is up until I tell them that and I let them know that, and I share this URL here with them. So if you hit launch site and you're not done Don't panic. I promise you, nobody but you in this class and WordPress knows that you launched the site. That's marketing. You've got to actually be able to market yourself. So if you don't share it with anyone, no one will know it's there, and you can just keep on working. This is my home page. So if I click learn more, I think maybe it's not working because I haven't launched it yet. Hopefully my button works once I launch it. Got my blog page. My 3 blog posts here. My contact page. Got this form. Maybe I want to add a picture here, so I'll go back and edit that contact page to add a picture. In just a few minutes, guys, we're gonna try something a little different. We're gonna do a little breakout session just to kind of see where everyone's at, check up on everybody, and then if we feel inclined, we'll share our progress. Pretty cool. All right. I think I've got a pretty decent, definitely not perfect, but decent website. Once you're ready, if you go back to my home here on this kind of dashboard, you can hit launch site. You don't feel nervous enough not to. So I'll go ahead and hit it. And let's see, they're gonna try to upsell you, but we don't want that. So we're gonna skip the purchase if you do hit this launch button, because we just wanna keep our free, long, kind of cryptic domain name that WordPress gave us. I'm gonna skip this purchase. Not sure yet, they're still gonna keep trying to sell you. Just forget it, just ignore it. Just click up here, continue with your free site. Keep everything free. And then once you do that, it's gonna say, hooray, you launched your site. So if I click on visit site, it should be a live website up now. Looks like my URL and my button isn't working, so I need to fix that. That's all good. The website is a living, breathing thing, so it's no biggie if you have any mistakes. Blog post here. My contact. Let's see if my contact works. Published. All right. Yes. Wesley's got a published website. That's amazing. That means you're going to be in show and tell, I assume. Cool. And I will see if my email actually made it to my email address. All right. Wesley, he's ready to go. I like that enthusiasm. If Anybody else is close to finishing, like let me know where you're at. I would love to see what you guys have gotten.